Back on this project that I had to take a break on due to some surgeries that limited my mobility and strength. I am now going to route the bottom end of this tabletop, get this tape off, smooth it out, then I'll sand it down and then come on top of it with either an ultimate top coat or an art epoxy. Using this router sled, not sure that I can get a good view of that, along with my router. And I figure this is going to take me some time. I'm going to take really small cuts out of this because I really want to try to preserve the smoothness as best as I can. So that was a beast. I hope I never have to do that again. That red tape that was in here had really rolled up to a very deep position. So I had to take a ton of material off, which I really hated to do. I hope that does not ruin the look I'm going for. Also, the problem that I had is this interface with that router sled on the edge of the table is not completely even all the way across. So I had to do some positioning with a flat piece, as well as moving the material around, because I was getting a very significant depth difference when I was routing it. So hopefully that's not something that is visible to the eye. We'll just have to see how it works out. So now I'm going to sand this down nice and smooth. I'm going to go start off with an 80 grit, then go down to 120. Then what I'll do is I'll clean this up and I'll put some polish, some finish on this wood, and then I'll come over the top of this either with an art coat or an ultimate top coat from Stone Coat to bring back that clear luster. Sanding is all done. Turned out to be a fairly therapeutic exercise. I hit it with the 80 grit Mirka pad until I got all the imperfections out from the router bit. Then I hit it with 120 grit and did 7 nice slow passes. So I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I had to wash this pretty good, so I'm going to let it dry. And then the next step will be use some Danish oil to seal this wood in. Then I will put some ultimate top coat on this side. This is the bottom side. And that will bring back that clear finish. Next step on this end table, it's going to have coins embedded. This is the bottom side. I routed the bottom to get rid of some tape that had peeled up when I was doing this initial pour. Then I sanded it down, and now right here, I've got Danish oil on the wood that surrounds it. So I'm ready to go ahead and get this back to that clear appearance. I'm going to use Stone Coat's Quick Coat Epoxy to seal the wood first. Then I will go over this back end with either an art coat or an ultimate top coat. Now, I noticed these areas right on the side. I've got some bubbles that came through when I did that first pour. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the construction of this, which will then put a good amount of epoxy on the front side. And then I'm going to go ahead and see if I can drill these holes out and fill them in and get rid of that ugly appearance there. So now I'm working on the bottom side of my tabletop here. I put the ultimate top coat on it, and you can see I've got a texture. I did find out that there are a couple of ways to apply that without getting that texture, but I did not use any of those methods. Was not aware that such a thing existed, so I thought the ultimate top coat would go on nice and smooth, but it did not. So now I'm sanding it off, and after about an hour, I could see some progress, but it was going really slow. So I switched to a higher speed sander, and now I've got some burrs in the epoxy. Rather than go through an extensive polishing job to get that out, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can lay a layer of this art coat epoxy on it and see if it brings back the luster and takes out all those scratch marks. On the border, I had to recondition the wood because the sanding took off a lot of that finish. So again, I went back with the Danish oil, which I really, really like for this wood, especially this oak. One mistake I made on that is I forgot to wipe off the excess, so it got a little gummy and stayed wet. So I had to spend a couple of days cleaning off that excess with alcohol, but now it's ready to go. Just finished that pour and I got a huge improvement over the look that it had. So you can see it's obviously very clear all the way through. There are a couple of little blemishes. I don't know if that's on this side or the opposite side. One like right there, you can see. So I got a little bit of conditioning to do on the bottom side, but I think after this cures and levels out, then I can do a little bit of polishing on this side if I need to. And I might have locked in some errors, but considering the improvement that I'm facing, I'm really happy with the way this came out. So that pour on the bottom turned out pretty good, but didn't have quite the smooth appearance and texture that I wanted it to have. So I hit it with some 600 grit sandpaper and I got a lot of those imperfections out, a lot of those little divots and a couple of little bubbles. But now I've got this haze on there, so I've got to hit it back. So I've got to hit it back with some finer grit sandpaper and then do my polishing work. In just a handful of minutes, you can see the difference between the 600 grit haze and then I said just a few minutes of polishing. So still got a long ways to go, but very, very immediate difference. I also decided to do a test. On this side, I hit with the 10,000 grit sandpaper before I went to polishing, and on this side, I did not. So this is straight from 600 to the polishing. And I can see, it looks like there might be a very, very slight difference, but I don't know if I'm just fooling myself. So I don't know if it's really worth it to do that 10,000 grit step. It probably is. I'm using this Ryobi Palm hand polisher, and as I'm using it, I'm thinking back to my days when I was polishing cars. And I wonder if just a regular car polisher, which will spin faster, would be a better tool for this. You don't see that a lot in the videos for epoxy, and I wonder if epoxy is just not as durable as paint, and therefore that kind of a polisher spins too fast, but it sure would seem like it would make the job faster, assuming you can control it and not damage the actual work. Okay, back to more polishing. See if I can make this thing nice and clear.